Going to jail, 25 to life.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Still ain't feeling too well, but I know what will make you feel well, the new Godzilla movie. I just came back from watching it. I was kind of expecting to watch it Friday so that I can make this video that day and then release it today, but plans change, stuff happens, yada yada. But I finally got back from watching the movie and I'm feeling even better. The movie was fantastic, I'll tell you that. I basically recommended 9 out of 10. The only thing I really wanted to see was Guy again. And along with that, this video will be spoiler heavy. This will be one of those types of videos. If you don't want to get spoiled on the movie, just watch another video or watch the movie then come back. But we're gonna get into it. This movie is straight up fantastic. Everything just flows together. The human plot isn't annoying or in your face too much. I think it's really nice, honestly. Movie's pretty good. Even though I didn't watch the last one, I did watch the one before that one. But still, I still understood what was going on. Movie was pretty good. It starts with Kong in the Hollow Earth. I didn't know when he got down there, but he's down there. He's getting chased by these spine crawler things. Gets a trap, sets up, and then does stuff. And then he hears a call. Thinks the call is another ape. Turns out it's just a frog. Then it cuts to the human storyline, and that's the beginning of the movie. It starts off kind of slow as most movies do. You got the background for the human plot. I think the most common complaint I heard about the last movie was all of a sudden the people that Kong was supposed to defend all died. That got explained in this movie. It was actually pretty neat. So apparently there's this one girl who's the last of her people from Skull Island, and she wasn't fitting in. She was having these weird visions and dreams with these three spikes or three pyramids, and she would be drawing that in class. The teachers were confused. The students were confused. She was also concerned. Her mom didn't know what was going on. She started getting an idea, and Scar King woke up. Stuff happens, and this movie is just action packed. It has a really good slow though. It's like because usually with most movies they do start off slow, but this is a good slow. It's like it's building up to something instead of just saying things. Then all of a sudden stuff happens. But the good thing about it is, unlike I think the last three movies, one of the first fights you see is literally in the beginning of the movie, which is Godzilla versus Skilla, which is technically monster versus Kamanga, but this Kamanga has a shell and tentacles. Godzilla just shows up, kills it, and then decides to fall asleep in like Italy or the Rome area with the Colosseum. Think that was kind of funny. Um, Trying to think about it. Kong ends up having a bad tooth. He crawls out of there, I guess, after being overwhelmed by some. I kind of forgot that part, even though I just saw it. He gets a tooth replaced. They're concerned. They're ready to go to, the Hollow Earth because they were thinking this might be a call for help or something because signal. I was kind of thinking that it might have been just like the other new monster because there's two of them in this film technically. Uh, I think there's technically actually seven monsters in the film because they didn't show this in any of the trailers because this also explains why the Egypt fight all of a sudden stopped. Was Mothra's in the movie. Godzilla's in the movie, King Kong, Mothra. Then you got the Scar King. Then you got Shimu. And then you got, well, I just said Skilla. And then there was the seventh monster, I think called, I forgot what was the, I'm just going to, I think it was the Titan. Titan. It's basically Manda, both like spiny claws or whatever. Really cool. But that doesn't happen till late. Yeah, what I just said really don't happen till later. But I thought in the beginning when they were doing the rumble and stuff, and all the technology was getting out. At first, I thought it was just Shimu waking up because before I entered the movie, I thought Shimu and Scar King would both be evil monsters. But it turns out it's only Scar King. So it's then revealed he's doing it because the eye and the camera, and I was like, wow, that's pretty neat. I thought it was Shimu for a second because then I remembered Scar King has an electric touch to him. And of course, it interferes with EMPs and stuff like that. And as you're watching the movie, you're just learning as it goes along. It's like this is building up to something. And then the people get down. The guy who was originally manning the ship gets eaten by a tree stump somehow. I didn't even see exactly what happened. They all run away. they then find this tribe of people, basically the same tribe as the Skull Island people, which is a really odd way of just settling the idea of, let's say, like a retcon or something like that. It's like they killed all the people, but then all of a sudden there's one survivor. Oh, and then there's a whole tribe of them, so it doesn't matter. That type of stuff. And then they find this one temple looking thing. It's Aztec. And the girl, I thought she was going to touch a bug, and that bug was going to turn into Mothra, but she clicks a button that it landed on. It opens these gates with the water. It goes into a little gear, and then it slides down into a wall. They open up the little fabric thing, which I originally thought was the Mothra egg, because it looked kind of familiar. Then they find the society, the people are there, they're surprised, stuff happens. Between there and then, you also get snippets between Godzilla and what Godzilla and Kong are doing. Godzilla feels what's happening, he gets up, and then he basically kills the Mando ripoff by basically blowing it apart and absorbing the energy it's stored up in that little nest, which is, how it gets all pink like that. At first, I didn't like Godzilla being pink, and then I just remembered that the Millennia version was literally purple, so what's the big whoop? Kong's also doing stuff. He meets, like, 4 of his own kind. There's, like, 3 adults and a juvenile. The juvenile then basically is adopted by Kong in the meantime. Kong also gets almost drowned by this Leviathan-like creature. He kills it, they eat it. Hallelujah. And then as they go in deeper into this temple with the pyramids, the 3 pyramids that actually control gravity, they are about to awaken Mothra, and they talk about the legend of the Scar King. And the cool thing about it, instead of like, a flashback or like them just scrolling across the wall with all the paintings and markings, they actually get into the thing with Kong finding the area because he's following the little one. I'm going to call him Charlie because I actually don't know his name. So Charlie basically leads Kong into this like hellish looking area. It's like a volcano place with bones as bridges. He walks over and he sees this entire tribe of Kongs. And he's like, what is this? He's just completely surprised because he doesn't really see much of his own people. So he looks around. People are just doing slave labor. He's just there with Charlie. Charlie just, communicates with the other members as they're working. And the members, try to warn them of something, but I don't speak ape, so I don't even know what they were talking about. And then an old worker ends up dropping something. One of the red scar guards get mad at him, kick him over, basically about to beat him to death. But then Kong basically picks the guy up. He gets yelled at, and they punch him straight in the face. And then after a bit, I think they get into a bit of a tussle, and then the Scar King basically hears about this, walks out, roars, and basically they roar at each other because they're both alphas, apparently. Then basically Scar King looks at him, tells everybody to stand back because this is going to be a one-on-one now. Kong's got the axe, and he's got the little whip, which at first I thought the head that he strikes with was actually the skull part of the 2 fangs, and I'm thinking, if he gets him in the head, he's probably going to kill him instantly. But no, luckily, the part for some reason he uses literally has this gemstone blade in it. It cut Kong in his hand, but later on you actually realize that the crystal controls Shimu somehow. It's never fully explained. I'm thinking it might be one of her spines that are modified to, cause pain in her body. Because when it explodes, everybody realizes something's up. Which it is destroyed by Charlie with the Godzilla axe later on in the final battle. But Scar King and Kong basically go one-on-one, throw hands with each other. They're going pretty hard on it. After a bit, Scar King removes the axe and then almost strangles him to death with the spine whip. But then Kong somehow gets out of there and throws him over. One of the guards runs up, about to help, but then the Scar King's like, hey, back up, I got this. And so he grabs his whip and he pulls out the thing like a little remote. And everybody, like, all the monkeys start jumping around. They just pull this rock and open up this lava cave thing. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? Oh. And then Shimu wakes up. And after a couple presses, she basically shoots ice into his arm. Well, actually, Kong picks up the axe and blocks with it, but the ice is too powerful and curves around the axe and covers one of his arms, getting him frostbite. And after a bit, the little one, Charlie, because he decided to help Kong because I think his real dad or something like that got kicked straight into lava. So he then's basically like, screw Scar King, we got this. So he gets him out, Kong runs, he then's getting chased by multiple of his people. Traps later, all but one dies. And then they run over to the humans, which this is where the subplots and then intermerge again. Actually, I think before that, I just remembered that Scar King laughed at Kong for having a fake tooth, which, funny enough, has a payoff later. And stuff happens. They look at him and go, is he dying? Is there something we can do? And they're like, yes, we actually have something called Operation Powerhouse, which basically, due to the fact that Mechagodzilla almost killed Kong, they were basically like, let's actually give this dude some defense. So they got him a little arm thing, you know? It's like the thing you see in the trailer. But the thing they didn't show you was the fact that it had 3 little tubes of green stuff they inject into him to, I guess, give him adrenaline and some other stuff like that. And he got all powered up. And then after a bit, old Charlie runs away. He sees Scar King's entire army just running because the one survivor saw the little pits in the ceiling and told him about it. And Scar King's like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So they all go on their little, war thing, run on over, and by the time they get there, Kong just runs up to the surface. He does an alpha call, which I was told about in a video. If I wasn't told about it, I would have not known what exactly went on in the movie. It's like, okay, I guess they have different roles now. But no, he does an alpha call because I guess he doesn't know how to call for help. So Godzilla hears that after busting out of the ice. He's in Spain for some reason, jumps off the little mountain into the ocean, swims there pretty quick because it's from Spain to Egypt. I think that'd be a day and a half to swim there. But this is Godzilla. He's like nearly 400 feet tall, so he could just swim there in minutes. He shows up. He's ready to fight Kong again. His legs gotten skinnier, so that's something. Kong basically is like looking at him, and then he just realizes, okay, he's a good distance. I can actually, wave sign to him. But then you realize Godzilla isn't Showa Godzilla. He can't actually understand humanoid movements like that. He only understands like vocal stuff. So Kong tries, reasoning with Godzilla. Hey, bud, we gotta go in this hole. There's stuff coming. So, but Godzilla ain't hearing that, so he tackles him right through the freaking pyramid. They start fighting, kind of similar to the last movie, but a bit more even. And it gets to the point where, actually, weirdly enough, Kong threw sand in Godzilla's eyes, and I'm like, I didn't know that'd work. But yeah, that happens. Godzilla gets pissed. He then freaking suplexes Kong, which is the coolest part of the movie. My favorite scene. Actually, before that, they woke up Mothra, and I was like, there's no way Mothra's in this film. But yeah, she came back, and for some reason, she looks more like a person or like a Hindu god rather than a wasp-moth hybrid. So she's basically going to come out in a bit. I'm going to tell you that. Godzilla suplexes Kong, then Kong beats him up, knocks him out temporarily, starts dragging him to the hole. Godzilla gets pissed, nearly lasers the dude in half. And then Godzilla gets on top of him again, about to kill him, and then Mothra is like, hey, can you two just stop? And then all 3 of them, which she was, I think, edited out of the trailer, with all 3 of them basically roaring together in a symphony, going, hey, bud, we're solving this together. So they all jump back into the hole, start fighting Shimu, Scar King, and all the apes. Then the little pyramids collide together, and everything basically becomes like space under there. Then it gets to the point where... I'm trying to think about it. Yeah, then it gets to the point while they're fighting above, all of a sudden the gravity starts going back to normal. And then they all start, I guess, floating upwards because they were a bit too high. And they start going through the hole, and they go to Brazil somehow. And yeah, all 4 of the main monsters, and then Charlie, all go up through the portal in Brazil. Shimu freezes everything and freezes the sky. Scar King just starts killing people. Kong then tackles the dude. He punched him so hard one of his teeth fell out. And then here's where I talk about the little comeback, because Scar King made fun of Kong for having a fake tooth, and then, Kong laughs at him for getting one of his teeth knocked out, and he gets pissed. They start fighting. Godzilla breaks out of the ice, freaking fires up on Shima, then pushes her through a wall multiple times. Also, it's a she. Funny enough, I thought both Shimu and Scar King would be evil, but as soon as they said in the movie that the Scar King controls Shimu through pain, I immediately knew it was one of them stories where as soon as the thing that, holds the monster back is destroyed, it's killing him, and that's what happens. So they're all fighting, all 4 of them, basically beating the crap out of each other. And then Godzilla basically just grabs the whip out of Scar King's hands and bites in half of his teeth. And then Charlie, who finds the Godzilla axe in the side of the wall because Kong was trying to stop his fall but ended up slipping. Charlie jumps over, pulls the axe out, then destroys the crystal, setting everything right. Then after they destroy it, Scar King basically tries fighting him. Kong picks him up with one hand like a Chad, and then basically he's holding him up. And Scar King's yelling at Shimu to basically, freeze Kong or freeze Godzilla or something like that. But Shimu looks around, realizing, hey, he can't control me no more. Looks both ways, and then freaking freezes him. Probably the only unique death in the entire MonsterVerse, because everything seems to get their head torn off. But this guy gets completely frozen. He's still alive for a bit because his eyes were still moving. And Kong slams him onto the ground and literally pounds him into like icy chunks, killing him. All four monsters just cheer, and then Godzilla blasts fire into the sky, clearing up what Shimu just did. And then three of the four monsters go back into the Hollow Earth. The human characters are all proud of each other, yada yada yada. That was actually kind of a funny scene because turns out I think the tribe chick, the last one alive, was deaf somehow. I don't know, that wasn't explained. But yeah, she was like going, "What are you talking about?" When her I guess mom was like talking about, yeah, that's whatever. I don't barely remember that. But after that, the movie ends on a really nice note with Kong, Charlie, and Shimu all basically taking over Scar King's kingdom and then basically changing it around, because I kind of thought it was neat to look at the contrast of humanity in the monkeys. Because Kong was basically the righteous one while everybody else was just barren savages. So I guess the next time around with the barren savages, they're going to become quite civilized. And then the movie ends, and I'm just like, that movie was fantastic. And after a bit, I was just thinking to myself, is there a post-credit scene? Because I'd love to see Guy again, Because we didn't see it in the last movie, in the movie before that, because obviously he couldn't be in the last movie. The movie before that, I was kind of hoping Guy again would somehow show up. He's in one of the promotional material, but he's not in the film. But it's like, that would be awesome to just see Gigan in the movie, because I want to see some more like classic Heisei, Showa, or even Millennium monsters in there. I think I'd like to see King Caesar, or honestly Gigan, Megalon. And then you got Biolante, you got, I guess, Space Godzilla, Batra, Orga would be cool, Mega Gears, because now I just remembered her name. Really cool monsters. Honestly amazing. Hedorah could actually be really cool in the MonsterVerse. Yeah, I just like to see a bit more classic monsters along with the new ones, because in this film there was only new ones. I guess there was technically Manda and Kamanga and Spirit, because there was two separate monsters that were a lot like them. Because Manda is a long serpent that's underwater, and the creature that Godzilla fights was also another serpent, but it had glass fins, and it was quite deadly, somewhat. And then there was Scylla, which is basically just Kamanga with a shell, somehow. And that's basically the movie. Really fantastic movie, 9 out of 10. I would have given it a 10 out of 10 if I saw Gigan or, any other monster, because that would have been straight up awesome. To see, like, Gigan or Biolante or something, like, just something. Like, that would have been even cool to just have a space scene with another King Ghidorah and Gigan flying to Earth. That would be fantastic. Well, I hope everybody has a good day and you enjoyed the review. I didn't want to put too many pictures up, or I didn't want to put any pictures up at all, because one, that takes effort, and two, that'd kind of be too spoilery, and I don't want this video to get taken down by Legendary, because I guess just like Toho, they got the sniper rifle just in case you have some footage. Adios.